This thing working? I hate being late. I don't like being late for anything. Like I got a phobia about being late. See if anybody's here. Where's me? My spectacles. Hold on a minute, you guys. Is this working? All right. Hey, Laura. Hey, Steven. Merry Christmas. Hey, when you guys, somebody want to say, let me know if this is working. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Can anybody hear me? Somebody say you can hear me. Holy shit, it's going crazy. Yes? All right. 1 second. What am I doing? Hold on. Give me one second. Yeah, a second. All right, there we go. I had to turn off that stupid heater. I know you guys probably can't hear it, but it drives me bonkers. Oh, I almost didn't even make it here. Had to buy this new damn laptop. Cost way too much money. And then it's a Mac. So who would have thought for a second that it wouldn't just automatically let you start live on YouTube? So I hit it. And then it goes, oh, no, you got to download Chrome. I'm like, what? It's like 9:26. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Ugh, freaking dog hair everywhere. Anyways, I just got to download in time. How late am I? What time is it? Can't even see. What time is it? 9:35. Oh, well, not late enough to get fired, right? So who do we got? Lots of characters hanging out this morning. Let's try to, I got to scroll to the top of this thing. Steven, Laura, INFJ. It's an odd handle. Merry Christmas, man. Sadie, Merry Christmas. Scott, Yvette, Martha, Trish, Jason, Nick. Just a slinging. Happy guy. Well, no, we need all the happy guys we can get. Women, Jason. Am I missing anybody? James, Jane, Eric, Buck, Paulie, Cody, Misty, Patty, Jeff, Ralph, Laura, again, Douglas, Sean, Eric, Lloyd, Ambidextrous, Patricia, Sadie, Stephen, Radam. Hope I didn't kill your first name, my man. Larry, Sabe Documentary. It's working. David, Sherry, Angie, Kathy, Patty, Brian, Jason, Stephen, Scott. There's a whole bunch of us here, huh? Pathfinder, Paulie, Gina, Shauna, Stevie, Nick. I'm going to be doing this for frickin' ever. Zoe, Brian, Stephen, Matt, Rick, J-Mar, Big Bear, Dan, Douglas, again. Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good morning. If I don't stop doing that, I'm going to be doing it the whole time, just reading names, right? Now, what should we do? It's Merry Christmas morning. Sarah's up at 5. The kids are out of here. They went somewhere else for the Christmas morning. And there's a massive, huge storm coming. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Vancouver Island, but it's an hour and 45-minute boat ride to get here with your vehicle from the mainland. And they just announced that all of the boats, I don't know how many people they transport a day, one way per boat. I don't know. I'm guessing maybe 1,000 passengers anyway, 1,500 or something. Closed them down all day. They said, that's it. We're not having one sailing today at all. Can you imagine how many people are stuck and their only time they could get away would probably be this morning to go do whatever they got to do for Christmas for their family and kids or whatever, right? Families that can't see each other until today. Now they're hooped. What a bummer, huh? And on somewhat same note, I went to my friend's celebration of life on the mainland. What was that, 2 weekends ago, I think? And it's up in Whistler, British Columbia. There's only one highway going up there. And if you wanted to get there from another way, you got to drive probably 9 hours to go all the way around. And my friend's dad, who's also my friend who died, his brother, sister-in-law, nephews, I think, and somebody else tied to him and others, they got blocked from a landslide on the highway trying to get up to go to the huge celebration of life. Oh my God, does that suck, right? But anyway, kind of makes you nervous when you're planning on going places and doing things, because we have to fly out of here on January 3rd, and there's been so many storms. I'm almost nervous and might want to head over to Vancouver 2 days earlier. But anyway, where is everybody? Where is everybody? Type in where you are. Why is this chat thing not scrolling up for me? I don't know how to operate this shit. Hold on a minute. Where are we? Olympics, Wisconsin, Toronto, Virginia, Kentucky, Florida. Oh, it's going like way too fast. Way too fast. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I'll get to the top here. Virginia, Kentucky, Florida, Calgary, West Michigan, Kentucky, Renton, Washington, Idaho, North Idaho, Edmonton, Michigan. That's the kids are in Edmonton right now. South Oregon, huge deer there. Indiana, Michigan, Delaware, Minnesota. Oneida, Tennessee, California, Ohio, northern Wisconsin, Oklahoma again, Calgary again, Colorado, Oregon, North Florida, Cranbrook, Spanaway, Washington, South Dakota, Arizona, Harrisburg. I've been to Harrisburg. I went to a big outdoors show there where they sell hunts in Harrisburg a long time ago. Harrisburg, Virginia. Is it Virginia, West Virginia? I think it's West Virginia. Pennsylvania, North Texas, Victoria, holy shit, down the road, Humboldt County. Athens, Greece. Wow. Tina, what's the weather doing there right now? What time is it there in Athens, Greece? You ever watch Alex Christoforou from the Duran in Greece? He does his thing every day from there. Torrance, California. Venice, Florida. Illinois, Vancouver, Washington, UK. The UK. Lots of prayers going to the people in the UK. I'll tell you what. Hood Canal Bridge. Grand Rapids, Washington, South Alabama. One of my favorite states in the whole world. Some of my best friends in the whole world are in Alabama. Central Virginia. Olympia, New Brunswick. We were just on the phone live with our family in New Brunswick. Tennessee, Marshall County, Alabama. New Hampshire. Southern Idaho. Man, we almost got the world covered, don't we? I can't even tell. I guess I'll probably figure out later on how many people are on here. I haven't a clue how many people are here, but the more the merrier, right? Canada, 51st state. Could you imagine? What a troll, eh? Wasn't that funny? Is that hilarious? Like, you got to admit, Trump is one funny son of a gun, right? He trolls. The thing about that is he trolls it. Somebody said $50. All right. Thank you so much. We'll put that in some little ones' tummies for sure. Speaking of little ones, a friend of mine, they just had a baby the other day. Little girl. They named her Stevie. Isn't that great? Named her Stevie. 9-pounder. London, UK. Iowa. How do you pronounce that? Tazewell County, Virginia. Tazewell, I think. I don't know. Central Michigan, North Carolina, Minnesota. Osage? Osage. People always email me on how to pronounce words. Beach, Missouri. Missouri. First time I ever hunted in the U.S. was Missouri, but everybody called it Missouri. And I sat, get this one. And it's funny, you might notice that I'm trying not to smile at times, so I'm self-conscious with my frickin' tooth, and I can't get it fixed right here until I'm going to get fixed when we fly out. But anyways, get this one. Very first time I went to the U.S. ever, okay? Very first time I went to the U.S. ever. And all I had is this duffel bag, full-on redneck punk, and these hunters invited me down to the States. Said, we're going to take you on a gentleman hunt for turkey in Missouri. I'm like, okay. I get to the border, and the border guy is looking at me sideways and asked me questions. I didn't know what the hell they were going to ask me. I'm like, he goes, where are you going? I go, I'm going to go shoot. I'm going to go turkey hunting in the States. It's my first time ever. You've never been down here before? Takes me aside, gives me the full check over. And then I had to give him the letter that another hunter had written me for Christmas and shit to prove that I was a hunting guide. Kind of weird, right? But anyways, I get down there. And these are some high-profile guys. I won't even say other names. And it was kind of funny. They were in Shelby County, Tennessee. Shelby County outside of Memphis. And they had a, get this one, they had a brand new four-wheel drive SUV, but they had to rent another one to go on a hunting trip. Okay. So they rented another one to go on a hunting trip. And we went on this road trip through Missouri. I remember we went through some big clear river on the right-hand side of the highway heading up, and it was supposed to be the world's largest natural spring. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. So I've driven by that sucker a few times since. And take note, these guys rented an SUV to go on a turkey hunting trip. And we drove all the way up to Missouri to this private place. And all there was for a 4x4 or any kind of off-road vehicle was a dirt driveway 100 yards on flat ground. I'm kind of like, oh my God, you pussies. Whatever. But anyway, first night, get this one. I'm freaked right out, right? Because this is absolutely bizarre for me. This kid that grew up on an island in the west coast of Canada. Next thing you know, I'm in the strange forest. I've never heard these forest sounds before. I've never been in a hardwood forest before. And I'm with these guys that are freaking right out for turkeys, which we kind of laughed about. Turkeys, really? And we get out of the forest in the pitch black. And I sat down, and all I had was these old cotton surplus army cotton hunting pants, and there's a hole in the crotch, a little bit of a tear. I sat down on a fire ant nest in the dark. No shit. Didn't even know that there was fire ants alive on the planet. Can you imagine that one? Imagine that for a surprise for anyone, especially you people who live around there and are familiar with fire ants. I sat on a fire ant nest with a hole in the crotch of my pants. Welcome to the US of A, right? So I'm dancing like I'm on fire. Holy shit, I'll never forget that. Pretty funny. Sorry for a little ramble. So Missouri. Now, every time I see or hear the word Missouri, I go straight to fire ant crotch, right? Every time. Oops. And yeah, I did get a bird. We got a turkey. And it was funny, though, for all you turkey hunters out there, I'll continue on to the story a little bit because it's a good one. So it's funny when you meet these people from all over the world. A lot of these guys are just dick slingers, right? They're used to slinging dick. Get in that contest. Who knows who and who has what? It's really, and for me, you know how I roll. It's like in one ear, out the other. I don't even listen to them until about the third day when I first get to know them, and then they realize who I really am. And then all dick slinging goes out the door, and they realize they can trust me. And then we become friends. And then we focus on the good shit, and all the bullshit talk doesn't even come up because I won't entertain it. So, but when those guys flew me down, one of the guys is a lawyer who used to be in law with John Grisham, the author. And then another lawyer down there one day goes, hey, man, you want to come down to what they call it? Oh, I forget what the term they had for the courthouse. The courthouse is downtown Memphis, and the prison, downtown Memphis. What are you thinking? But anyway, apparently Memphis has fallen apart a lot since then. This is like 20 years ago. And they took me down and he goes, hey, man, you want to come into what they call the something pit, the shit pit or something, and meet the king? I'm like, huh? Meet the king? I thought Elvis is dead. You know, they're no, come on in and meet Jerry Lawler, the king. I don't know who Jerry Lawler is. And they started laughing their heads off like I was a nutcase. I'm like, you don't know who Jerry Lawler is? He's almost like the mayor of Memphis, man. You don't know who Jerry Lawler is? I'm like, nope. Was it? He's a wrestler. I'm like, what? He goes, and he's representing him in a case. And he asked me if I wanted to come in that morning and come meet him and hang out. I'm like, I'm all right, man. And then I clued in. I'm like, oh, is that the guy that beat up Lodka on David Letterman? And he goes, yeah, that's him. I'm like, okay, I'll come meet that guy. So that's another part that happened on that trip. But then the craziest part is the original guy who lined up their hunt. You know, once you get older and you get more experience with all those people and you realize how things roll when in business. Excuse me. This dude from Memphis, I don't know, from Mississippi, from DeSoto, just outside of DeSoto County, Mississippi. He took all of his lawyers on a good old boy moose hunt in Canada. It's just trade-offs, right? They're not buddies. There's trade-offs. And that guy, I guess, he was probably slinging dick and name dropping, blah, 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 blah. Grew up with Elvis. And So, anyways, these guys, I get off the plane, boom, they threw a blazer on me, put a hymn book in one hand, a Bible in the other, and took me to this Baptist church with this dude bouncing up and down on the stage and screaming and yelling like a full-on show. And I'm just sitting there going, huh? Right. And then and we went turkey hunting to a few different places. We went turkey hunting in Tennessee, turkey hunting in Missouri. And then they go, well, I could probably say this guy's name by now. They go, well, Tommy Dobbs wants to come and get y'all. You don't have to go. I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure I'll be okay. Well, he's going to show you a slice of Americana we're not too proud of. Probably some alcohol and casinos and girls and such. Right? And here I am, like in my 20s. I'm like, I think I'm probably going to be okay. Right? Anyways, get this one. This dude comes and picks me up. He's in his 60s. Picks me up in a red Dodge Viper. Lipstick red Dodge Viper. One of the only two Dodge Vipers in the state of Mississippi. The other one was a green one owned by a magician who had a show in Tunica. And Tunica, how do you guys know, is a huge casino strip, exactly like Vegas. It blew up in the bean fields and cotton fields in one of the poorest counties in Mississippi. I didn't even know it existed. He picks me up in this red Dodge Viper. He's got on these Elvis sunglasses, right? And a red satin shirt on. He's got a six-pack of Corona, a Mickey of whiskey or something, a pack of smokes, a pack of cigars. And he's like, man, get your ass in here. I cannot believe you hung out with them boys that long. Let's go. We're going to have some good old effing good old. He said, we're going to have an effing good old time, whatever, right? And pins it. I was like, what the hell, right? Pins it. This Dodge Viper. It took me to Jerry Lee Lewis's house during that trip. But anyway, yeah, he when Elvis went into the military, the old black and white film strips of Elvis in the military, he's in the military bus, I think, going to Germany. He's waving out the window. Tommy's in the other window beside him. And when you can see the old film clip of Elvis getting his military haircut, and Tommy's in the next seat beside him getting his haircut. And he goes, man, I told y'all this shit up there in Canada camp. And I'm like, well, I don't really listen to you guys when you're slinging dick and name dropping, whatever, right? But anyways, I'm starting to babble about this trip, but bringing up the Missouri trip brought back all these memories. And I've got a lot of real crazy ass stories from my guiding career, the people that I met, the places that I went, the time I spent with these people, because at that time I was absolutely single, and I'd go make a pile of money guiding on the water. And then I'd go up north in July, and I would stay up there July, August, September, October. And then we get paid some pretty good tips, right? I mean, I'll tell you right now, I don't give a shit. I had more than a few $10,000 US tips per hunt sometimes. So we'd stack up those Benjamins, stack them up in my binocular case for the whole 4 months. Back then, it was $1.50 US to Canada. So you imagine what it was like to cash those suckers in, right? And then by the end of guide season, I would have invites everywhere from the past customers, because I treat them like a piece of shit. Being funny. I don't give a shit who you were. You get dropped off in camp with me, you're my little brother, or you're my neighbor. And that's as far as it's ever going to go. You're never, ever, ever going to be treated more than a Wrangler gets treated with respect. We're all equal. And not a lot of those people haven't been treated like that, right? In their lives, I don't think I met too many people down there. I went to a lot of these guys' places. You wouldn't believe some of the things I did and the people I met. And if I started babbling right now, I'd probably sound like the biggest bullshitter ever, but I got all the pictures to prove it. But I'd probably say 8 out of 10 of them, probably the most miserable people I ever spent time with. They didn't trust anybody. They weren't really truly tight with their spouses at all. The people they surround themselves with, they didn't trust. Everybody wanted something from them. It was really sad to watch. It's really a sad thing to watch. And I learned a lot about that part of life at a very young age. Thank God. And that's why I'm the dick that I am now, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm really babbling, aren't I? But anyway, that's what I learned then. When when I can tell people with confidence, if you are chasing to be some kind of a celebrity, or if you're chasing, you think that having the latest watch or vehicle or a private box in some stadium or sporting place is going to get you somewhere, you've already lost. You've already lost. I can say with confidence, if that's what you're chasing this lifetime, you are a loser. And but you still have time to turn it around. Because once you get to the end of those pearly gates, where the pearly gates may be, you're going to realize real quickly that you were trying to climb that ladder that leads to nowhere your whole lifetime, chasing that status with your bullshit items and dollars. It gets you nothing. And this one man, when I was there, I saved his life. And he had a epileptic seizure, I think, in this restaurant, going into something else, whatever. I had to clear his tongue out of the way and get him breathing again on the floor of this expensive steakhouse. And then I ended up staying a little while longer. And believe me, I'm missing out on I'm gapping. I got a whole pile of gaps in this whole story missing. It's a long one, and it's unbelievable. This is when I got my police ID. These guys are corrupt sons of bitches, right? Real corrupt. And he had all the money in the world. All the money in the frickin' world, okay? Knew all the celebrities. He had every classic Chevrolet car you can think of in a warehouse with a jacket on the driver's seat with the emblem on the back, because him and Elvis, they were all in the cars. They're all in the cars. He had the saddlebags from the last Pony Express run with all the documents. He had the strong boxes from the last Dalton caper. He had the strong boxes and a photo with the strong boxes with all the Daltons lined up dead with the lawmen with him. He had the buffalo robe from the last legally killed bison in the 1800s, all documented stuff, right? He collected all this shit. He had the saddlebags from the last Pony Express run with documented shit. I'm just saying, this guy he just had shit everywhere, right? Shit piles of money. And there he is, and I'm watching this and I'm learning, and there he is laying in bed, got him back to the hospital. I decided to stay longer. All by himself. Nobody went to see him. Physically crying because he doesn't trust himself to drive anymore with his one grandchild, his granddaughter. Okay, now picture this one. Guy grew up with Elvis. He worked at Graceland forever. He's got millions of dollars. He knows all these celebrities. He's got all these toys. He's got all this hot shit everywhere. Had this bimbo hot girlfriend who's just sucking the life out of him. And there he was, all by himself at the end, possibly at the end, right? He already had somebody else's heart in his chest. What I'm saying is I learned that at a young age, watching guys like him, and he was a real strong example of where are you now? Where are you now? You missed it, right? You went your whole lifetime brushing shoulders with all these popular people, got all that money, you got every car a guy would dream of having one. But there you are by yourself, dying alone, crying. Right? Lessons learned for old Stevie Boy thank God, at a younger time in life. It's really, really sad to watch, but he did some bad shit in his lifetime too, right? He did some real bad shit. Like he told me about shooting a guy in the chest with a 44 Python one time. There's a whole big, long story that goes with that. That's a weird one too, for a punk from Canada to hear somebody telling him about shooting somebody in the chest with a 44 Python. You're like, you what? Did you kill him? Hell yeah. There's a hole the size of a softball coming out his back. F him. I'm like, oh yeah? What'd you do with him? Hell, those brim and catfish and everything ate his ass up. He's out there where Tunica's built now. Oh yeah, cool. But anyways, what I'm just saying is, and that's just one story, right? And he's tight with one of the most corrupt sheriffs probably in Mississippi. And when I got out of there with a police ID and I got back with the lawyers, the one lawyer goes, you take it to, I don't give a shit, I'll say the guy's name. You take it to meet Riley? I'm like, yeah. Need to give you a little souvenir? We're driving. And he's not impressed at all. He's not, I can tell he's not happy. I'm like, yeah, let me see it. And I give him the full leather billfold, whatever you call it, the wallet, with the badge cut into the one side of my police ID, photo ID in the other. And he looked at it and he blew a gasket. he wasn't too happy about that one. But whatever, I'm innocent. I didn't know what I was doing. We're just following the rules. We're following the, my guess. But yeah, I'm really babbling about that this morning, aren't I? But that's just a drop in the bucket to give you an idea of some of the stories that I have from my crazy ass lifetime and how I learned at a young age that celebrity status means absolutely nothing. It probably usually means the opposite of what it's portrayed to be, right? And if you are chasing the almighty dollar and you think that having all those expensive rare things hanging off your ass, you've lost, right? You've lost. Anyway, I'm babbling. What's going on here? People are sending money in. We're doing a great big Christmas shop before we fly away, and we're going to surprise a whole bunch of kids. It's funny, once you deliver the food to them, like I can't stop thinking about them, how they're making out right now. You know what I mean? Pythons at Chamber 357. Okay, probably whatever. You imagine the state of my mind. I'm a kid listening to this shit. And being a Canadian, we don't get to play with handguns. So I'm not absolutely intimate, familiar with the calibers of handguns. Yeah, he definitely dummied them. Lloyd, thanks so much for that $5, man. We'll be feeding kids with it. Bash NC, Ian, thank you so much. Justin, Shannon, thank you. Brian, Sharon, thank you from the kids for the kids. I'll tell you what, when you see these adult parents looking down and they're trying to control their emotions and they can't, and they start crying just from dropping off food. Holy shit. And then you see these children, you can hear them inside the door when they close the door, and you hear the kids screaming because they got food. Isn't that crazy? Absolutely crazy. I was so taken back. I didn't know what's going on in my own backyard. How would I know, right? I drive through town, I come home, I hang out on the property. I don't go house to house, and I'm not on Facebook. I don't know what's going on. It turns out our community is the second highest child poverty level, whatever you want to call it, in the province. Didn't have a clue about that either. And apparently there's a big mill here in town that employs a whole pile of people. Doors are locked. Shitty deal. So anyway, and when Sarah told me that this mom's thing, there's some page on there, or Moms Help Mom or something on Facebook, and she told me that there's actually people asking to have come over and get people's leftovers from their effing dinner. And that was it for me. I'm like, what? Run that by me one more time. There's people posting their freaking leftover dinner on Facebook, and lots of people are asking if they can get it here. And that's how it started, right? I'm like, fuck that. Right? Screw that. And that's when we fired up the membership option on here. And then I'm like, here we go. Food time. Right? I didn't even know. I haven't a clue. I think Sarah's got the receipts, but I don't know how much. I think we're probably, I know 138 people was a number a while back. 138, 148. But I'm pretty sure it's well over 200 people now. And I don't know. Thousands. It's in the tens of thousands of dollars spent now. So all because of you guys. It's pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. But when you drop, like I was saying, when it's the first time I went, like Sarah would go and she'd bring her daughter and they go do it. I'm like, no, I'm not going, because I know I'm too soft, right? It would kill me to see those kids. I hear her, she come home in tears and tell me the stories. And then finally I decided I'd go on that last big one, because I wanted to break the record for the most families fed before Christmas. And we definitely smashed it, but it was a lot of work, but whatever. But I went on all the deliveries. And once you do go, you can't stop thinking about them. You can't stop thinking about those little shits. So there's a couple of particular houses that I want to make sure. I'm just going to go over there, not even announce. I'm just going to go wait till they're asleep or something, and put a couple of big boxes of food in front of the door so they can find that in the morning, just to make sure they're all right, because there's too many kids. There's too many kids not getting fed. Drives me bonkers, right? Especially when our doorknob in position here just gets outed for spending $244,000 on high-end meals on airline flights for him and his entourage on a couple trips. So you imagine how upsetting, how angry I get at that, right? I won't start babbling about that shit. How's the microphone doing? I'm not too close to it. I know some people get on here and they use their microphone, and it's annoying as shit. Hold on a minute. Where are we? I got to get to the bottom. Am I too close to the microphone? Don't be shy. Somebody say, is the microphone all right? Just say yes. It's fine? All right. Gotcha. Now, I don't give a shit how long we hang out here. Well, what do I got to do? Oh, the ladies, superhero ladies coming over for Christmas dinner. I have to go get them. But before I said that, I was going to say, I don't give a shit how long we hang out here. I'll sit in here all day long. I don't care. But I can't. We'll hang out for a while. I'm not timing nothing. But I think what I'll do, I'm going to read an email because I went in my inbox this morning. Maybe I'll leave these things on for a second, right? Might help me. Where are we? Okay, so hold on a minute. I took Sarah elk hunting, which still makes me kind of laugh, right? I mean, if you know who Sarah was, she's like your typical, does everything she can to make her skin perfect and makeup. I can't go all my makeup on, you know what I mean? And then here she is, got her hunting license, coming on an elk hunt with me. Like, this is just too bizarre. And on the way up, I stopped at a Honda dealer in Williams Lake. I wanted to go get a generator for her comfort, the little princess's comforting camp. And then bought the generator, and a young guy came on the parking lot and followed us out there and said, "Hey, I know who you are." Like, okay, met him, shook his hand. He said that he had an experience, and he pointed in the direction, and right within view of town. And he said his dad had experience too. And I said, "Oh, well, tell him to write it in." He goes, "Yeah, he wants to write it in one day." Well, guess what? I opened up my mailbox this morning to grab emails, and one title caught me. It said, "Williams Lake Honda Young Man's Father's Experiences." Bingo. Know who that is. So we're going to read it right now, right? And then maybe I'll babble bullshit some more stupid stories. Williams Lake Honda Young Man's Father's Experiences. Listen to this. I don't have any clue what happened, but I know something. They both had experiences, right? Here we go. Hi, Steve and Sarah. You met my oldest boy, Connor, at the Honda dealership in Willie's Puddle. Willie's Puddle, that's our slang term for Williams Lake. Connor was working and heard a familiar voice. He went out looking, and it was you and Sarah. He just about shit his pants. LOL. He phoned me right away and said, "Steve's here. Small world, haha." Connor said he shook your hand, and you definitely have a man's handshake, and good, but a different aura about you. You can tell a lot by a man's handshake. I told him to ask you if you would show him the video you have on your phone, but you're gone. Now that sucks, ass. Well, if you're listening, I'll make sure next time I come through, I'll stop in, I'll show him. Yeah, too bad. He's had his own experiences with forest people. I'm sure he told you. Yeah, from the direction he pointed, it was northwest of town. I want to tell you about an out-of-body experience that no one really says. You can bring things back with you. Read that sentence one more time. I wanted to tell you about an out-of-body experience that no one really says. You can bring things back with you. Oh, like shadow people. Now, this is going to get creepy. Not sure what they are, but I saw two of them together and asked me to come in. What? But I thought I would go back in the email and bring this up. It seems to be the topic right now. I will explain that experience later in the email. This makes more sense if I explain. I've driven a semi-truck from Vancouver to Alberta, transporting food and working in the oil field, hauling crude through the bush. I've seen a couple things in my travels. No doubt. I've learned to be a spiritual person along this ride, which has benefited me in times. Call it a benefit or a curse. When I say spiritual, I mean not Bible or hippie spiritual, but more of a Native American aspect, I guess. It's almost the only way I can make sense of the things I've seen. It's very hard to write this, and my English sucks. I apologize. You're doing better than I could. Well, shit, here it goes. I've seen a lot of shit in my 43 years on this rock. It's going to be long, but I'll try a short form. If any questions, I'll write in again with more. I'll try a short form. If any questions, I'll write in again with more info. I've seen orbs, Sabe, little people, shadow people, grays, and a lizard man. Holy shit, you didn't leave out much, did you? Crazy. It's funny how some people just get, once you, they see something, they see it all. It's common. I'm not sure it was quite fuzzy. I'm not sure it was quite fuzzy on that one. My mother, father, brother, and my son have had their own strange experiences. Hopefully it's not a family thing, LOL. Sounds like it is. My first experience was when I was 6. My dad and his friend took me fishing near Hemlock Ski Hill. We parked off the main road, got out, and continued to hike in the snow, where I noticed big bare footprints in the snow, and they were huge. That's all I remember on that trip, besides falling in the river and losing my dad's friend's fishing rod. My dad's friend was pissed about that rod. Not about me getting swept down a bit. What a dick. I asked my dad. He doesn't remember any tracks in the snow, just me falling in on the rod. I was around 7 or 8. My aunt and cousins went on a trail ride with our horses up Thorn Hill. I think we were an hour and a half in our ride, getting ready to climb the steep trail. We tighten up our saddles. I hop on my horse and I see something looking at me behind a stump, probably 4 to 5 feet tall, with black fur and a gorilla monkey sort of face. Why didn't I say anything then? I have no idea. And that's common too. I have no idea either. I don't get it, but it's common. Later, I told my aunt. She said it was probably a bear. She told me that a lot in my younger years. I guess my mind didn't recognize what a forest person looked like, and the closest thing was an ape face of some kind. My grandparents' 12-acre farm backed onto Thorn Hill, and I seen the same thing riding in the back with my older cousin by where the tree fort was constructed around with 5 or 6 big cedars. My cousin said she didn't see anything when I told her. Thinking back, the horses never really noticed or spooked, which is quite weird. They definitely got jumpy around bears. Age 11, a friend and I were out playing at dark on our road, 252 St. Maple Ridge. The road was just about a kilometer straight. We were in the middle of the road playing ninja. The road wasn't a busy one. One could even play street hockey without having to move the nets very much. Not playing chicken with cars. We were goofing off, then all of a sudden, we see a red ball of light come down to one end of the road, about 4 feet of the road, and came right? We were in the middle of the road, and a ball of light went right in between us. The ball continued between us till the end of 252 Street and shot up straight into the sky before reaching Dudney Trunk Road. Oh, Dudney Trunk, that's down on the lower mainland, right? We were like, what the F was that? We talked about our 20s, and Matt remembered like it was yesterday. Okay, so you talked about it when you're in your 20s, and Matt remembered it like it was yesterday. The orb or ball of light was just smaller than a ball and pulsed inside and outside like a Tesla coil in the science world. Probably 12 to 18 inches out of the ball. I don't remember if this is before or after the orb incident. I was laying in my bedroom in bed when my window was engulfed in an LED sort of bright light. Then I looked at the foot of the bed, and there's this 4-foot gray, big head, oval black, big black eyes. That's all I remember of that. That's some creepy ass shit. How many people do you guys think have had that experience by now? It's a shit pile. Always the same description too, right? What are they doing in the frickin' bedroom with anybody? My family moved to the shoe shop when I was 17, and this experience happened in my late 20s when my brother and a friend had a fire at one of the smaller lakes, having a good time shooting the shit. There's a lot of shit goes on around there. Actually, a friend of mine who sat on the front of his cabin porch with me a year ago, he lives in the shoe shop. And he had some friends get a hold of him because something was absolutely roaring at this guy and his daughter on the other side of the lake from the highway. You know, when you're taking the highway to go, where's the highway go? Calgary? When you're going towards Salmon Arm, on the other side of the lake from Sorrento. Sorrento? Yeah, lots of shit goes on around there. Sorry, you guys. This experience happened in my late 20s when my brother and a friend had a fire at one of the smaller lakes, having a good time shooting the shit. I get the feeling that I need to walk into the forest 300 feet. What? I get the feeling that I need to walk into the forest 300 feet. Red flag. I could hear a voice in my head telling me to go toward the stump head, which I did. Then all of a sudden, it was like a download of information. And in my mind, I seen an underground network of a tunnel system. In my mind, it looked a lot like the movie Tron in the 80s. Two colors, blue and red. It looked like a blueprint, almost like construction drawings. Holy shit. It showed an underground tunnel system all around the forest and under the lake. Crazy shit. I heard a voice say, "Go check it out." I left immediately and went back to the fire. I never told them, at least then. No, bizarre. How do you keep your mouth shut, right? Obviously, I don't. But it's so amazing the extreme, unfrickin' believable experiences people have, and there's somebody with them right there, and they don't say shit while it's going down. That is so bizarre to me because I don't keep my mouth shut. But well, we're all different. Anyway, sorry. We have known about the encounter since, but that ain't the only one with those boys. My vision or experience make me wonder if and how many go missing that way. That was my first little person encounter, as I found out years later. 17 kilometers away in the forest is our second encounter together. This time my two kids were with us. We're having a nice fire away from it all. The kids were getting tired, so they went to the truck to rest till we left. The truck was probably 200 feet away from the fire when called a sneaky little trail to what? The truck was probably 200 feet away from the fire when called a sneaky little trail to the camp area. Typo, minor. My buddy goes to check on the kids and disappears into the darkness. My brother and I continue to shoot the shit when I see a branch move about 6 to 8 feet up a cedar tree, which I think is my friend coming back. So pay no attention. Carry on conversation. When I feel him brush against me and put their hand on my shoulder, I think nothing of, don't even look. Then I see my buddy come from behind that cedar that was moving not long ago. I'm like, what the F are you doing trying to scare us? Then he asks what I'm talking about. So say, you're just behind me. He's like, no, man. Then we all look at each other as we are thinking the same thing. We know what it is, or we know what it was. I go check on the kids who are fast asleep. Doors are still locked. I go back to the fire and say we should probably go when I see 20 to 30 sets of glowing red eyes looking at us 2 or so feet from the ground. Holy shit. I ask if my brother and friend can see this shit, and they say no. We got the heck out of there. I know there's a bit left out, but just trying to get through my experiences. I will add more about a specific experience if needed. I will send the rest in another email, but I thought I would get this out to the people. You're not alone in your experiences. Thank you, Steve, for what you do. You're definitely the right man for the job. Wow. Crazy. Yeah, we want to hear the rest of it. Without a doubt, we do. Want to hear it all. And anybody else, even around like where you guys are right now, Williams Lake. I wonder how often you guys talk about this shit. You guys are hunting too, right? I think your son said he was hunting. And excuse me, so if you guys are a hunting family and you got anything else that went down or has gone down, let me know about it. I want to hear about it. Big time for sure. 20 to 30 sets of eyes. I don't think we've heard a number like that before, but nothing surprises me at this stage of the game. And I mean nothing. You can't freak me out anymore. You can't. It's not even possible. I don't think my eyes even go wide anymore. Right? How could they? Huh. See, normally I'll just keep on reading. I don't really sit here and have a pause of silence for you guys while I think about what I just read. I can't wait to hear more. And I promise, I will guarantee you, I will stop in Williams Lake and I will find your son and I will show him what's on my phone this fall, 100%. For sure. It kind of sucks I can't share that with you guys yet, right? But if you don't have your word, you're nothing. You're nothing. It's funny how many people have tried to shame me. You think, is it funny after being it for a while? Do you actually think a human being could shame me to do something? Fuck. Oh my God. You couldn't even do that if you had a gun to my head, doorknobs, you know? If you don't have your word, you're dead. You're already dead. You're nothing. You're a waste of skin, right? You shouldn't even show your face in public if your word's dog shit. So when I was, obviously the people that sent me the video trust me. And we checked in with them earlier this year for an update on the status of possibly sharing that video. And they said, no, don't do it. Not yet. You'll get in trouble. All right. So whoever originally obtained the video, they'll probably be taken away currently if that goes public. I guess it'll be no question who took it. But yeah, I got it. Something else to see. I'll tell you what. It's something else to see. But anyway, but I always tell anybody comes up to me in public, I'll show you. No problem. No problem. But you'll never know the name or how I obtained it. So even if there's any of those dirty, dark sons of bitches watching the screen right now and they think they're going to come up to me in public and pretend to be one of us, go ahead. I'll show you the video too. And you can kiss my ass because you didn't pull one over my eyes, because I'll never reveal the source. So it don't matter. Now, who's next? Let's read another one. This is titled, these are all recent. The recent column too. Oh, but quick mention. So, you guys know that I'm going to try to move my domain name to GoDaddy from Enom because Enom sucks ass. I went into one inbox yesterday. I was just trying to clean out a shit pile of junk mail out of it, and I was at it for it was at 96% of the space, and that one email was taken up. And I sat there for 40 minutes deleting junk emails. Obviously didn't get them all. And it took me 40 minutes to get it down to 90% of the email taken up. So you imagine what's in there. And then the number on the inbox was 10,360 something emails in that one mailbox. 10,000, over 10,000 just in one. And I think there's 5, but I've got more than that attached to my domain name. And all you little sleuths over the years have found every single frickin' email. And so I can go into one of my emails that's absolutely not related to this or shown to you guys, and you guys have found it, and there's emails in there. I'll check in the spam boxes in there. Go down. Oh, there's another one. You see what I mean? It's like the emails I've encountered are like mice, and I am in a huge ranch with fields everywhere. And everywhere you look, you'll find a mouse. Oh, there's another one, right? Oh my God. So many, and I don't want to lose them, but I can't get out of that. I can't get away from that Enom fast enough. But I'll get there. I have a few emails from all of you giving me some lessons on what to do it smoothly and not lose all of your emails. That's my goal. I'm really babbling today. This is titled Experience. Hey, Steve, I emailed you a couple times about the Aether, capital Aether, about the Aether and things that exist but aren't widely known. I wanted to share two weird supernatural experiences. First, my one Bigfoot experience. We had a summer home on the ocean with government property next to us and all around the area. Thick forest right on the coast. One evening, we heard the loudest, longest, feel it in your chest, roar/yell. We all went inside. But what was odd, I was watching In Search of Bigfoot earlier. Isn't that a show called In Search of Bullshit? Right? Sorry, not sorry. Then the scream at like 11 o'clock wait, hold on a minute. I was watching In Search of Bigfoot earlier and was thinking about it all day. Then the scream at like 11 o'clock at night. It was like 11 or 12. I'll never forget it. Second, my friends bought this synthetic type of marijuana called White Tiger. I took a hit and instantly stood up and had to turn to the left. If I turned to the right, I felt I was gonna go down and see something really bad. What? So I'm spinning left while getting tangled in the ceiling fan cord, unbeknownst to me. So I'm spinning left and I leave my body. I go upstairs, see one of my friends, leave the house. I see people gardening. I keep rising. I see the highway, the center of town. Now I'm looking at the whole town and multiple towns. Now I'm looking at a bunch of cities. The curvature of the earth becoming visible. Uh-oh, why did you have to say it's curved? People are going to go crazy now. Just kidding. Got to kid about shit, right? Now I'm looking at a bunch of cities, the curvature of the earth becoming visible. I keep rising. I see the east coast of our country is rolling, but I'm leaving. It's rolling, but I'm leaving Earth. I see satellites. Now I'm headed to the moon. I move faster. I go by the moon. Strange lights flash on it. I keep going. I whiz by degree. And what I think is Mars. Lots of degree. A glowing planet. Now I'm in darkness. I look back at the faint light that is our sun, and now I'm in pitch black. Then a tear. Then a tear. Like a rip in black cloth. There's bright light coming from it. It calls to me. Like it was my destination all along, and I go through it. And instantly I rise out of what I can only describe as a petri dish with a microscope and various other equipment looking at our whole universe in that dish. Holy shit. There's roaming universes everywhere. When I come up and out, it was behind two large glowing beings. I felt like they were in charge. As fast as I looked around, one turns and puts its hand or whatever on my head, and I get the feeling I'm not supposed to be here. This being is so bright. It's not good or bad, but I know I don't belong. His hand on my head, he pushes me back into the petri dish with our universe. The pleasant trip I took earlier is now moving faster than I can fathom. I see the same planets, the objects, etc. I saw before whiz by me. I see the roof and me, and I go back into my body with such force, I fall 10 feet, ripping the ceiling fan out of the ceiling. I go flying. Everyone comes running. I go how long I have been gone. I probably meant I don't know how long I've been gone. The trip felt like at least an hour or two, and they're like, what the F? What are you talking about? You just took a hit and you stood up and started spinning. What the F? Why are you mangled? It's been mere seconds. Steve, this experience messed me up for almost a year. I couldn't shake. I went somewhere I'm not ready for or shouldn't have been. We know nothing of ourselves, our world, our universe, our place in it. I hope you read my other emails. Everything is connected. And because of folks like you, we are getting there. Sounds like you got there and back, man. Crazy. But you know what? The word on the street is there's something to be said about drugs, right? Cracking open your mind to other places. There's something to be said about it. I'm not a drug guy myself. I tried all sorts of shit, obviously, but growing up, but it's just never really liked it. You know what I mean? Just not into it at all. Well, actually, no, we've been microdosing the mushroom thing, but the healthy ones, just to help with your mind. But not the messy up ones. And I had a professional football player on my boat this summer, and he told me about going to Brazil and taking that ayahuasca trip. He said it was absolutely amazing, and he definitely went somewhere and he saw people, spoke with them, because I've got a big interest in that. I think I'd do it. Like I said to him, I said, I've been thinking about doing it. And I know another friend of mine who's a very intelligent guy, very healthy, very fit, very intelligent, well-traveled guy. And he's very curious too. So we're talking about maybe going on that adventure. I'm not scared. I'll do it. We'll see what comes. I don't know. But there's something to be said, right? But this particular person who emailed in, I wonder if you did it again. Did you do it again? Did you have the same results? You know what I mean? To your friends are obviously into that shit. They're probably doing the same thing that happened to them too. Pretty bizarre, right? And it's like I was talking about earlier, I spent a lot of time this past month. I'm always looking for truth, right? I'm always looking for truth. And I try to make sure I limit my time, because I try to make sure I don't spend too much time, so that I need to spend time doing the shit that I love to do. I need to spend time helping people. I need to spend time accumulating knowledge. That's dominates my time on earth. But then there's that guy in me too that really, really, really loves to, and I can't stop myself hunting down bad guys and getting even. I can't help it. Can't help it. I think it's a bad thing? Nope. But with that being a natural encourager in my soul, that's why you guys hear me saying shit on here. I'm not saying shit to be angry. Sure, I'm a little pissed off, but I make sure that I drop tidbits here because I'm trying to encourage everybody to not be scared, say the name, speak the truth, and who gives a shit, right? F them. F the bad guys, right? And that's why I keep on dropping little tidbits about various things going on the planet, people who are apparently in control that are absolutely evil. And I just like to make sure that I share what I know, and how I feel about certain things randomly. It's not like it engulfs my mind. I'm not all day long chanting and pissed off because there's guys with badges protecting douchebags. I'll just have that thought. I'll put it on the shelf back here, and I make sure I mention it on here, right? Because I know a handful of them are probably listening, and I want to stick it to them. I want to stick it to a lot of bad people, right? I want to stick it to a lot of bad people that are making life for you more challenging than it should be, because I see it clearly. Right? I've seen a lot of life. I've spent a lot of life with a lot of people with a lot of power. And I'm not scared of them, but I know the results of their results and their effect on all of you from what they do with their positions in power. And it makes me want to hang them. Why tiptoe around it? Why even tiptoe around it, right? When you talk about what you want to do to the bad guys, I don't give a shit. Well, you're not supposed to say that. Who cares? We're not supposed to do a lot of things, but apparently some things we're not supposed to do or say are probably the right things. So, F them. F them. I'll keep sharing the shit that I pick up as I go along this ride, right? Man, what a ramble bamble. Let's get some more caffeine in my ass. I don't even know how long we've been here. It's over an hour. It feels like 7 seconds. Now, there's people still here. Have I scared you all away yet? Alabama, Missouri, ayahuasca. That's what it is. Ayahuasca. Yeah. It's crazy shit. Probably more people than I know smoke weed all day long. I don't give a shit. They're not anything less from it. They're very intelligent, successful people too. Jail is expensive. Rope is cheap. Bingo. Right? Why feed them? Let's hear somebody else. I don't even know what's in here. Excuse me, I never do. I never do. I hope to the way that we have been doing this on this channel for I don't know how long now. I remember back in the beginning, you know, my the amount of attacking that I was getting and receiving for doing what I'm doing now in the beginning was off the charts. And I guess I probably came across as this angry dude. But I think I was doing pretty good because the majority of you didn't have a freaking clue what was really going on. And the majority of the nasty little jabs and things that I would inject into my videos, they were absolutely directed back at various certain people. Okay? Just see picking up what I'm putting down. I wasn't just coming on here and rambling out nasty shit. I was retorting, but I was doing it publicly without dropping the names, and they knew exactly who was talking. Who they know exactly that they were the ones I was talking to. And it was quite the battle. But I don't consider myself a tough guy or tougher than anybody else. I just know that I won't stop fighting. I don't give a shit. Beat the living shit. I've got stainless plates in my jaw. I don't give a shit. I still come back fighting. Doesn't matter. What I'm saying is I'm a fight to the death kind of person. It's just the way it is. Don't know why. Always been that way. So when I first started coming out here publicly, you know, obviously one of my main motivators is respect for my grandfather, as well as respect for Dr. John Bendernagel, who I met way before I spoke publicly. But after watching the shit show and watching all those people and knowing they're lying to all of you, knowing the whole time all those shows are going, the whole time that dog shit website's going and more, I knew they were misleading all of you intentionally the whole time. So you can imagine how frustrating it was for me as I was growing my public presence. And you know my stance on people intentionally making your life not as full and quality as it should be. So imagine how frustrated I was watching that shit show go down now that you know my demeanor and what motivates me, right? And then finally I'm like, all right, fuck you guys, we're gonna get it on. And I'm not gonna quit. I will get the last word in. And we're gonna kick your ass to the curb. Right? This nobody punk hunting guide for Vancouver Island, a small island on the west coast of Canada. And I went and took all those perks on and we won. You know why we won? Because it's honesty. It's honesty. Everybody's treated with respect. Nobody's better than the other. Nobody's in charge, but all of us together. Right? Is this what we've done here is such an absolute in your face example of what happens when everybody's treated equal, everybody takes care of each other, and there's no bullshit and no lying. Right? I mean, some of those big TV shows, right? Imagine the presence all these pricks had, and we squashed the living shit out of them. Isn't that great? Right? Bring it. Bring it on. Right? Bring it. You just come and try and shut us up. You get kicked to the curb and you get squashed, but you bring it on yourself. We don't seek out people and intentionally attack them and squash them. It's all been in self-defense and retaliatory. Retaliatory, is that a word? I had a great time doing it too. Loved every second of it. Still do. I can't stop. If I say you're not going to stop me, I'm not going to stop. If I said I'm going to read every email, I'll probably be reading emails in my deathbed. Right? Shit. Oh God. I got about 500 more here. So I'm going to try to get through them. Keep me hooked up to that machine. Right? The worst thing, the people who want to control your thoughts, the worst thing they could have done was try to shut me up. I'll bet they are kicking themselves in the ass every day my annoying face and voice comes online. Probably like, fuck, why did I even repeat his name? Damn it. All right, sorry, I'm babbling. See, I don't have anybody sitting across from me to tell me to shut up and read. Freakiest 8 minutes, the title of this email. Hi, Steve. You shared my first encounter I had when I was a child. Can you guys hear that rain? Holy shit, the ocean's falling out of the sky. Literally. Hi, Steve. You shared my first encounter I had when I was a child just over a year ago, and I'm ready to share my second encounter. It was incredibly disturbing and had to share or describe. Good. Super stoked and happy and glad you found your people. Let's get into it. I live in a forested area in the northern part of Washington State. I got home late one night around 11 p.m. during late September 2023. Anyways, as I got out of the car, I noticed the shed light was on. The shed is located near the edge of the forest, where it is quite thick. So I go inside and grab the key for the shed and turn off the light. Hold on. It's got a text come up in front of my phone. Hold on. Lost my spot. I get into the shed, turn off the light, and as soon as I'm done locking up, I hear what sounds like a dog barking right behind the shed. And I jump back onto my gravel driveway where there's a small amount of light coming from the floodlight on the house about 35 yards behind me. The way it was barking at first sounded very dog-like, low tone. But then it almost sounded human and was right on the edge of the forest in the bushes, like a human imitating a dog. That's when I ran about 30 yards back and hid behind our camper, which was parked near the house. I was trying to identify what this was, and I eventually told myself, there is a crackhead in my woods and I'm in danger. Then the noise changed again, and it got bizarre in more ways than one. The human-like barking changed into a strange wailing/screaming. I wish there were words to describe this noise better. Anyways, that didn't sound human at all. There's no way I could imitate that noise. And then my brain was like, it must be some kind of an animal. Curiosity got the better of me, and I got out from behind the camper and walked back towards the shed. The noise continued as I was looking in the direction of it, trying to see something in the pitch blackness. My adrenaline was pumping at this point, and I'm trying to figure out what this off-putting sound is. The more I listened, the more unnatural it sounded. I devolved into what I can only describe as a primal state of fight or flight. And I let out a primal scream back at this thing, and it stopped for a second. And then the sound started again, and it got closer to me, much louder, and sounded like it moved from the bushes near the ground to about 7 feet above the bushes, like it stood up. And in that moment, I felt true terror and thought I might die. In that same moment, I backed up towards the house, facing where this thing was, ready to see this thing come running at me. Instead, the thing, which had deepened its tone from the screaming, stayed in the darkness of the forest. Now I'm standing there in this dim floodlight, listening to this thing pacing back and forth in the bushes at a rapid rate of speed, like it wanted to get me, but it couldn't for some reason. It was so strange because you couldn't hear it run back and forth, but you could hear the air and the sound moving, as weird as that is to say. The fast pacing back and forth stopped, and then it transitioned to sounds again, this time imitating a baby crying. That didn't sound quite right, but close enough to pass as a baby. At this point, I'm just standing in the light, listening to this freaking noise, trying to figure out what it is. Next thing I know, directly behind me in the forest, I hear a quote, owl, end quote, hooting in the distance. And then a second later, the thing in front of me completely stops all activity like it had just vanished. My sense of deathly fear was replaced with more curiosity. I ran back into the house, grabbed a flashlight, and went back out to take a look, keeping my distance from the shed and staying in the floodlight. There was nothing that I could see, not a sound. No owls, nothing, not a sound. I went inside and second-guessed myself the whole night. The whole encounter only lasted at most 8 minutes, and I'm a hunter, and I've been an outdoorsman since I was a kid, and I've never heard anything like this. I searched animal sounds for 6 hours after this and covered every little variation of North American animals and the world, and nothing came close to the way this thing switched sounds and the way it sounded. Man, what the F? I've never been that freaked out before. So off-putting and disturbing. Excuse me. While it was happening, too, I felt like if I turned my back on this thing, I would die. And if I tried to run for the front door, I wouldn't be able to unlock it in time. My instincts were telling me to stand my ground, and whatever you do, don't turn your back on this thing. I felt like prey. I'm not a small guy either. I stay in good shape. I'm 6 foot, 250, and was 20 years old at the time. And whatever this was did not run when I challenged it, and it challenged me right back. Ooh. I don't know why it stayed in the forest or why it did, but it did. But man, did that change me. When I hunt now, I'm more aware and fearful when hiking out in the dark or early morning. Also, for months afterward, I did not go into the woods. Oh, sorry. Also, for months afterward, I did not go into the woods. No animal has ever matched that noise or vocal range that I've listened to. I know what I heard, and it wasn't normal. Endo email, and you know what it was, right? You know what it was. You come here seeking us out and the email, and you actually sit down, spend the freaking huge amount of time it takes to write an email. You know what it was. Why do they do that? I don't know. I'm going to keep going. I don't care how long we sit here. You guys, anybody still here? You guys still here? Scared y'all away with my kooky stories. How do I get here? How do I get this freaking thing back down here? I think I'm at the bottom. Probably cutting into people's Christmas dinner time or something by now. But anyway, I hope I'm sure there's a whole bunch of everybody out here that possibly doesn't have family somewhere to go right now. But it doesn't matter, right? We're all here together. And believe me, I've had some of the most lonely frickin' Christmases that would probably need somebody to jump off a bridge. I don't know how many times, but you get through it. And then you look back and you realize it's kind of funny. Once you push forward and get past the weird thoughts of, oh my God, I'm all by myself, the world sucks. But it doesn't really, right? Doesn't really. Been there. I've been there. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. It's no big deal. Now, I'm going to keep going. Hopefully there's still people here. I think there's a bunch of people here that the comment section thingy is going. Brrr. I guess I'll find out later on how many people have been here. I haven't a clue. What do we got? Oh, 2,000 people? Holy shit, you guys. Is that a lot? I don't know. In YouTube world, I haven't a clue. You know, people always say, oh, man, you got so many followers. I'm like, really? Do I? I don't know. I mean, there's places that got millions of people following their channels, I guess. I guess it's a large number. I don't know. And then even the live thing, if you're 2,000 people here, I don't know. Is that a big number? I haven't a clue. I haven't a clue because the whole planet's available, right? Sorry. It's funny too. It's funny. You know, I've had a lot of opportunities to be on. I've had a lot of opportunities to be on. Either have a hunting show. No thanks. I've had reality TV. Businesses networks from the UK and the US got a hold of me a handful of times at the beginning to ask if I wanted to have a reality TV show. Obviously laughed in their face. Right. And Sarah typed in popular hunters, Canadian hunters on the AI thing, and I come up as in the top 3 most popular hunters in Canada. Crazy, right? Without being on a TV show, we're trying to get there. What am I trying to say? I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say I don't keep track of this shit. I don't know. I guess we got a big crowd here. I don't know. Okay, here we go. We all 4 kids heard the same telepathic message. Holy shit, this is going to be interesting. Here we go. Strap yourselves in. Hi, Steve. My name is Helen. Helen, I hope to God at the end of this you say, don't use my name because it's too late. It's live. I'm 53 now, but my story happened when I was 6 years old. I live in England. I don't hunt, and I've never looked up any hunting channels or researched the Sasquatch, but somehow your channel found me, and I'm so glad it did. You know what, Helen? That's just the way it goes. I mean, I bought the domain name howtohunt.com. I own all the domain names, howtohunt.ca, .us, .everything. I own them all. And I wasn't even thinking when you name your YouTube channel. I don't frickin' know. So I just put howtohunt.com on there. And then it started. And it never got promoted. I've never promoted this channel. I've never shared this channel on any social media anywhere ever. But when people are looking for information and your brains are independently working, you find us. It's inevitable, I guess. So that's what happened. Sorry, I'm babbling. I've been fascinated by just how many people encounter Sasquatch and the many ways they communicate, particularly the telepathy. When I heard this, it got me thinking about the strange and terrifying experience my siblings and I had when we were very young. We had moved into a rented property for 6 months, having relocated from Wales back to England for my dad's work. The house was located in a small hamlet. In a small hamlet. That's not going to be a known term for us North Americans. In a very rural part of Shropshire, surrounded by a small woodland and then farmland beyond that. The minute we arrived at that house to the minute we left, I knew we were being watched. I could feel it. And somehow knew we weren't welcome either. All my senses were on fire. But being so young, I didn't understand why I didn't feel safe, inside or outside the house. So many weird things happened in the 6 months we lived there. But this particular morning has played on my mind for years. I have 3 siblings, and on this day, the eldest was 7, the youngest of us was just 3 years old. We were playing in the middle of the 3 big fir trees in the back garden that we had made into a kind of a treehouse. We were banging old pots and pans and laughing loudly at something one of us had done when suddenly we all just froze. Even the birds went quiet. Not one word was muttered by any of us, and we all started shaking with fear and looked at each other. You know how creepy of a freaking experience that would be? Imagine that, especially if you're a hunter. You're with your buddies, you got like some magnums with you, you cut down a herd of elephants, and all of a sudden all 3 of you turn into a puddle of fright. Haven't had it happen yet, but I almost wouldn't mind having that happen just to experience it firsthand. Maybe. I don't know how I'd deal with that. I don't like being scared of shit. Sorry. I heard in my head, get inside now. You cannot be in the garden. It's not safe. Go now. In complete silence. Okay, I'm going to throw something funny there. You know what? You never know. I mean, a bunch of kids banging pots and pans is enough to drive a ghost nuts, right? Sorry, I had to say that. In complete silence, the 4 of us turned and ran for the house at the exact same time. When we burst into the kitchen, nearly knocking our mother over in our panic, she asked what on earth we were doing and to go back outside and play. We just looked at each other and shook our heads, nope. And in unison, we said, we can't. We're not allowed. My mom stopped what she was doing and looked at us all for a minute and then asked, who said out? Again, we just looked at each other and then said, we're just not allowed. She must have seen the real fear in our faces, and the youngest of us was now crying. Okay, now at this stage of the game, with all the information we've been sharing with each other, parent, you're going to be a little more, you're gonna be study your children a little more and listen to them now, right? If you've been here any amount of time, and just how, if this woman had the knowledge that we have now, how alarmed do you think she would be at this split second, right? If she was armed with the knowledge that we've been sharing here. She must have seen the real fear in our faces, and the youngest of us was now crying. Ordinarily, on such a nice sunny day, she would have made us go back outside, but this particular morning, she just shrugged her shoulders and said, okay then, shoes off and go on in. Good mom. The weird thing was that she didn't question us further. She was a school teacher and had very strict rules. I also noticed she quickly shut the kitchen door that had been open all morning. Good mom. None of us spoke another word about it for years. We moved out of that house after the 6 months and into a house my parents bought. It was many years later that at a family gathering, the topic turned to childhood memories, and we spoke for the first time about that day. We then realized how weird it was that none of us had heard a voice, but all of us had received the exact same message in our heads and experienced the rush of fear at exactly the same time. Excuse me. We also all agreed that we felt like we were being watched all the time. My brothers then told us all that most nights they saw a large dark shadow pass their bedroom windows. They're on the second floor, so it must have been huge, whatever it was. And sometimes it would stop and look in. They would just lie frozen in fear under their bed covers until they fell asleep. They somehow knew not to look at it. My parents admitted that they felt the same about the house being watched and that they were only tolerated staying there because of us kids. They also said our family dog was always watching things that they couldn't see. My dog's been doing that a lot too. Looks up at the ceiling a lot. We got a big vaulted ceiling in the house, right? Living for just 6 months in that house somehow trained my other senses, though, and taught me to listen to my gut always. I don't fear going into the woods or outside at night alone. Like you, Steve, I have horses, so spend hours outside with nature, all hours of the day and night. I do always listen to my gut, though, and if it says don't go there, I don't go there. Simple as that. Perfect. I've puzzled over what happened and how it happened for years. I would never have thought of Sasquatch as the culprit behind the experience if it were not for your channel and stories you help share. I would never have believed they were even here in the UK, but I've listened to some stories you have read about fellow Brits experiencing them here too. Lots. I can't thank you enough for that. My only question now would be, was the being who telepathically sent us running inside protecting us from some other threat that morning? Or were they the threat? If so, why warn us? Like I said, lots of weird things happen at that house, and I think I could feel two different energies present. Or perhaps we were just being too noisy. Maybe. Then I lost my spot. Dummy. Anyway, that's my story from the UK. Tomorrow's Christmas Day, so I'm going to hit the family with my Sasquatch theory. That should cause a great discussion. No doubt. Love your channel. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Ex Helen. Merry Christmas to you too, Helen. Absolutely appreciate the time you just took out of your life to send that into the gang here. Now, everybody does automatically think it's Sasquatch that does that. I haven't a clue. A successful predator would not even for 1 second let anyone be aware of its presence. It's just going to come and take you down. I don't give a shit if that's. I think I could probably safely put that on, obviously, known predators on the earth. And I would say with confidence, some unknown entities, whatever you want to frickin' call them, if they are predators and want our ass, they're not going to warn you. I do not believe you're going to get warned in any remote way. So that leaves one of two things. Something is warning the children. Well, one of three things. Something is warning us. Something's annoyed by us. It just wants us to get out of here and really wants to make sure we get out of here. So they go to the extreme level of terror. Or it's our own skills, our own intuition, or possibly our guides. Do I believe we do have spiritual guides? Me? That's as real as death and taxes for me, without a doubt. Take from what you will or leave it. I would bet my soul that we have guides, unseen guides, spiritual guides in this lifetime, without a doubt. I've had way too many examples of in your face, somebody did something to preserve my life. Absolutely. There's no way I do not have spiritual guides in this lifetime. There's no way. So, is it them? I don't think so, because I have never had myself. I have never had a voice tell me to get out of here. I've never had a voice enter my head yet. Is it going to? I don't know, because I'm a bit of a stubborn prick that way, and I do tend to talk rather foul in the morning, in the dark, in the forest. I can't help myself. I tell them, just leave me the F alone. Don't bug me. I want nothing to do with you. You torment me, I'm going to put an effing hole in your head. And I'll admit it right now. That's what I say in the mornings. I can't help it. Right? I try to be a little more polite. Since I had my knife returned, I don't know who did that still. A lot of people are going to say it was the Sasquatch that put the knife in my backpack. Didn't see him. Maybe it was. Strong possibility, but you cannot, nobody can say without a doubt, Sasquatch, put your knife back in your backpack. Shut up. You weren't there. We don't know. 100%. Right? But I haven't had the fear. There's places I don't go. I can feel pressure. It's like the hair in my ear stands on end. When I feel what I've called for years, I feel pressure from over there. I don't go there. Or else I feel too much pressure from there. I'm not going there today. There's places where I go bow hunting, my favorite place in the whole world, and there's like a line of timber. I'll go right next to it, but I rarely go in there. I rarely go in that timber. I feel pressure there every single time I go there. I was there recently, and I found a footprint there. I seen the bright lights in the alpine and the high mountain peaks above there at about 10 o'clock at night in the middle of winter. And I don't know, I might have seen 4 or 5 absolute bright white lights against the cliff face. And it was minus, I don't know, it's probably minus 15 down at the valley bottom of the highway. And I thought, oh, well, it's probably some mountaineering people doing whatever they do. And I look back, not a fucking chance, man. Why didn't I stop and try to videotape that shit? There is not a chance in hell. And then coincidentally, right below there is where I videotaped those 2 lights way up there when it was minus 15, 20 again, 5 in the morning. And I videotaped those 2 lights. And I got it on tape. Same mountain, but way higher up. I saw the lights. But what I'm saying is I feel pressure when I go near that, when I'm on that side of the valley and I get up the mountain. It's almost like there's a invisible line in that timber, and I feel the pressure, and I just don't go in there. And but it's not terror, and it's not a voice. Haven't had that happen. Babbling, getting back to who's doing it. I don't know. I don't think it's our spiritual guides, because my spiritual guides do not communicate with me in English in my head or project thoughts in my head. They just don't. But they've done some crazy ass shit to save my ass. Without a doubt. I'll tell you what, when you're so many times, it just doesn't make sense that I'm alive. It just doesn't make sense. I've had one grizzly bear sat on me waiting, intentionally sat waiting on me and my hunter. We tied up our horses when we were down the mountain in the timber, blah, 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 sitting against a tree, binoculars, spotted scope, looking across the valley until it's time to go back to camp. And then I seen his tracks coming up the mountain behind us on top of my horse tracks, all behind us, all the way up the trail to where we went and tied the horse up, went and sat down. And that sucker followed me from there all the way back down into camp, and then tried to get me from the porch of the cabin. Why did he kill me before that? He had my ass. Weird, but that's not even an extreme example of, that's not a spiritual guide saved me that day. It's just shit house slack. Shot it, killed it. But anyway, one time I was tracking a wounded one in thick timber, and the guy had blown its front elbow off and a bit of its guts or something. It was ugly. And I'm on my hands and knees going in this tunnel. If you guys can imagine what that does to your adrenaline, I'll tell you what. Crawling on your hands and knees through thick brush after a wounded grizzly bear sucks. It sucks. Still, I look back and I think of some of the shit I did. Like, how the fuck did you do that, you psycho? But anyway, we left, went back to camp, got a dog, came back in there. No, real shitty blood. And then, and I let the dog, 2 guys, the bear tunnels in the thick forest, thick dog shit in the bottom, forked, and we didn't have any blood on either trail. Didn't know which one to go on. I'm like, oh well, those guys went to the left, so I went to the right. I'm following the dog, and then the dog got the dog off the leash. I found 1 drop of blood. Under my nose on the trail. I'm like, he's right in front of me somewhere. And one thing about grizzly bears is they 100% of the time they set up to kill you when they're wounded. I've come up on wolves, black bears, everything you can think of. I've come up on them. and 100% of them want to get away from you, but not a grizzly bear. They're setting up to kill you. Anyway, I let the dog go, and I crawled on my hands and knees, and I got this big pile of logs, blowing over logs, the whole root ball, big trees, like 3 foot thick. Yeah, probably 3 foot thick trunks, maybe 4 foot thick trunks, three footers, and the boom falling over, so the ground went flat, and the bank rose up, and full timber. Trees down, roots are up, then another one and another one. So you can imagine the trunks of the trees are like this. That dark triangle between my arms. So picture that as being 2 logs, right? The dark triangle going down in there. I'm coming up in that log pile, and I'm like, there's no way he's not in those logs. He's got to be in those logs. And I had a left-handed Browning A-bolt 7 mil mag. And I got one in the pipe. And the dog, so I'm watching the dog. Dog goes ripping up to you can tell the dog smelling something. Dog goes ripping up to the logs. I'm watching him, and he goes around to the right and up, disappears. I'm like, holy shit, that sucker's still going? No way. So I'm gonna climb over top of the logs to get up the bank because it's just deep, thick shit. I'm sick and tired of crawling on my hands and knees, and I'm gonna stand up in this log, and I'm gonna go up the log and climb up the log pile to get up the bank easier, like stairs, And I got up, sat on this log, and I'm sitting on it like I'm sitting on a horse. And my right leg is in that dark hole. And all of a sudden, and I shoot left. I'm on the log facing this way. I shoot left-handed. And everything went absolute slow motion. And as I'm swinging my head to the right, now picture this in ultra slow motion. And I remember this like it happened yesterday. There's nothing fabricated, exaggerated. If I say this is how it happened, this is how it happened. and I'm swinging my head to the right. And as I'm swinging my head to the right, the dog is coming up out of that dark hole between the logs, right in front of my face, over top of my legs. So I guess what he did was he went up and around the logs and went down in the hole. And that's where the bear was. And that, how fast that is? Picture the speed of this shit going down. And I look down. I'm swinging to the right. The dog flies out of the hole. And I'm registering what's going on in probably 1/10 of a second. I don't know what the fuck's going on, right? Or how fast. And as I'm going like this, I'm swinging. So I'm going like this. Getting my barrel over the log. My barrel's going down into the hole. The dog's over probably on my shoulder by now. So think the timing, right? I swing my barrel down into the hole. The barrel of my rifle is right off the tip of my boot. And here's this thing's face right under my boot, eyes locked on mine, coming straight up out of the hole at me. Pucker factor or what, right? I'm swinging. So think of how fast all you people are experienced people with guns and shooting. Think of how fast I was moving, swinging my barrel, and I'm going, whoa, like this, right? Think of how fast I'm moving that barrel, okay? You got one shot, right? I swing the barrel. I pull the trigger, scoped rifle. Obviously, I'm not looking at the scope. I swing the barrel, pull the trigger, and I think I fell backwards off of the log. It's kind of foggy because all I remember I shot. No, I was sitting on the log, so going, yeah, I jacked another one in the pipe. Then the dog plays tough dog and spins and goes back in there, and you can hear him chewing on the bear in the hole, right? I'm sitting there. The other 2 guys, I can hear them yelling off in the distance. What's going on? I'm not saying I've got time to talk to you. I'm concentrating on this hole, waiting for round 2. And it doesn't happen. And then I got off the log and crawled back. But anyway, make a long story short, sorry I'm babbling. We pulled that sucker. It was a huge bear. We pulled that sucker out of there. And the hole from my shot, I swear on my soul, I swear on everybody, the hole from that gun was dead center between his eyeballs, so dead center. We put a tape measure from eyeball to eyeball, and eyeball to eyeball was 4.5 inches, and that hole was at 2 1/4. right there. What? Right? Right? Indicator number one, there might be a spirit guide hanging out with me somewhere. Indicator one. That's just one story of I don't know how many to prove to me in my lifetime that I definitely 100% have spirit guides with me. Somebody's watching my ass. I got some more stories that are way more unbelievable and impactful than that one, but we'd be here all day long. You know, the one time I had a huge sow grizzly, I got her on video. I got her three-year-old, probably 250-pound cubs. They're at the age where they all charge you at the same time. Usually the cubs climb a tree or run. And when they get to that age, all four of them come and have their way with your ass. And I had that sow. All his cubs stood up in front of me at about 15 yards. And her. And I'm like, I had a 300 Ultra Mag, which is like a rocket launcher. And I had that rifle pointed at her. And I'm just speaking calm. Don't do it. I'm absolutely calm. I don't care. I got a freaking cannon. And I'm very experienced in this shit. I'm not losing my shit. And I'm pointing at her. And she starts racing back and forth, screaming. And the cubs are all looking at her and looking at me standing up. We're going to get him, Mom. We're going to get him, you know. And then she should have attacked me and killed me right there. I don't know why I haven't a clue why she didn't come and shred me. Isn't that crazy? I just do not have a clue. And my hunter who was with me, he ran. The second he saw his grizzly, he just panicked and ran. Thank God, because I don't need some guy sitting there shitting his pants with a gun in his hands and shooting me by accident, because that happens a lot too. And then she just all of a sudden jumps down all fours and took off without the cubs. And then they all looked around. They jumped on the ground, went with her. But it's later on. Oh, and it was after the bear followed me too onto the cat. And the bear followed me to camp to get me. It was the same time I didn't have any powder in my. There was no gunpowder in the round that was in my gun that whole time. What? So backpedaling. This is a long story. I got it on a video on YouTube somewhere from years ago, but had that sow charged me, which she should have, and I would have calmly just held the crosshairs on her forehead, dumped her, I would have pulled the trigger. But when I did pull the trigger on that round later on, nothing happened. It went click. I'm like, huh? I had a new hunter and he had a grizzly bear tag. And I thought, well, I've been riding around for, a few weeks. Let's shoot our guns, make sure they're on. He shot his gun. I shoot their guns too. So I know. And then, cause they had a grizzly tag. And then I went to shoot my gun and went click. I'm like, what? And then I just noticed a little tiny wisp of smoke coming out of the chamber, you know, and I jacked the empty shell out and there's a little bit of smoke left in that shell. I'm like, what? Well, the primer was enough to push that lead into the barrel of my gun. So you imagine if that sow came to rip my ass apart, I would have pulled the trigger. It would have went click. I would have jacked that round out and rammed another one in there and pulled the trigger. And then the whole thing would have blew my face off. And then she would have ripped up whatever's left of me, but it didn't happen. How did that not happen? And I had that same round in my gun after my partner shot that grizzly bear that was on the porch trying to get me. And the second he shot it, it went barreling off into the willow and I could hear it growling in there. And I wanted to make sure it was dead and didn't get away because we got to get a wrangler, go get the horses in the morning. So I got running my cabin, grabbed the same gun with the same round in it. And I went running in there with my headlamp. And imagine if that sucker, I knew I got right on him in that willow with my headlamp. But imagine if he still had enough life in him, he would have tried to get me and I would have pulled the trigger on that round with no powder in it. Right? And there's a bunch of other stories linked up with that. I'm really babbling, aren't I? But it's Christmas and it's live. Who gives a shit? So how I survived that 4 weeks, haven't a clue. And then, of course, there's all the other times on the boat. There's just so many. But how, and then this last fall, Sarah and I driving home and that fucking, the connecting rod ball joint broke in the parking lot, which made my wheels go absolutely separate, the front wheels, like no steering at all. And Sarah and I had just traveled 3 hours of doing 100 kilometers an hour plus passing logging roads, Freightliner trucks and cliffs on the side of the highway. We stopped for a Subway sandwich. I put it in reverse and that pin just fell apart. What? How the hell is that? How does that happen without a spirit guide or somebody watching your ass, right? My legs were absolutely turned to jello. And I had tears in my eyes. I'll admit it right now. I had tears in my eyes. I said, we just died. She's like, what? I go, we just died. Like, we just died. I cannot believe we're here. I cannot believe we're alive. I was kind of fell apart for a couple seconds there. Same as when I realized there's no powder in my bullet. And then I realized what I've been through the past couple weeks. My knees turned to jello because I knew I should have been dead, right? How's that for ramble bamble about a spirit guide? I'm sure I can't really be reading the comment section, but I guarantee you there's a bunch of you who know without a doubt someone's been watching your ass, right? It's a pretty bizarre, it's kind of cool to have that knowing for those of you who know, isn't it? It's pretty wild to know. And it's almost like, once this ride's over, I can't wait to see who it was. Right? Can't wait. And wonder if we can actually, when this ride's over, I hope so. I hope it'll be really, really, really cool to be able to sit there and have conversations with whoever it is about, remember that time? Were you there too? You know what I mean? And just sit there and have a good bullshit session as you review your lifetime and all your experiences. And hopefully it's true. My gut tells me it's absolutely true. If we do have these spirit guides, if we can just sit down and have a good old-fashioned bullshit with them and laugh our faces off at what they did, what they prevented, they'll probably tell us how dumb you were back then and how we used to just sit here and watch you and shake our heads like it was a bad car accident. I can just imagine that, right? After I die, if I got spirit guides and we sit there and bullshit, they're probably going to be going, oh my God, dude. Most of your life was like a bad car accident. You just wanted to look away, but we couldn't. What the hell, right? Guarantee you they're going to be saying that shit to me if there's that moment. And I'm sure the same thing with a lot of you. Right? Won't that be fun? Full-on life review, laughing, cringe moments. We go, well, I don't know what happened that time, right? It's going to be pretty cool. But I can guarantee you there's nothing that happened in my lifetime that's going to make me wonder not if I'm going somewhere good or not. I know I'm going to a good place without a doubt. There's no worries there. But how about those people that are dark? Imagine being one of those evil sons of bitches, and then you got to go have your little life review. How's that going to go down? Okay? Cringe-worthy shit or what? Yeah. We've got to get going? I don't even know how long I've been sitting here. Oh, right, okay. You got all my chores done? You got all my chores done? Yeah. Where are you? Oh, yeah, we're live. The elusive Sarah. She's more elusive than Sasquatch when it comes to the camera. Maybe I should swing it. No. Yeah. Look, she is like Sasquatch, right? All you see is she's a tree peeker. She's a doorway peeker. That's like the record amount of time you've ever stayed in the frickin' camera. What's going on? Look, now she can't talk. What do you mean nothing's going on? What are you doing, actually? Getting the meat. She's getting the bird out of the... You getting the dinner out of the freezer for the superhero ladies dinner tonight. Christmas dinner. Delicious. Can't wait. Anything you want to say?
Merry Christmas.
But I got to speak louder.
Merry Christmas.
The people donating money here to go throw down for some more food for the little Rugrats.
I got an e-transfer from someone just a second ago.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do that. That's going down before New Year's. Okay?
Yeah.
Costco will be open. It's going to be open.
Yeah, I think it's open tomorrow again.
There we go. There you go. Mama. Oh, mama. Never before. How long was that? That must have been like 45 seconds.
Maybe.
So you are a real person.
Sometimes.
Okay. Bye. Wow. Weird. She never does that shit. She usually freaks right out if I even fake I got a camera on her. Stop it. Anyways, what was I babbling about? Life review. Oh, that's another one too. Another thing when I was looking at my notes, and sometimes I'll I told you guys I'll be driving along. I'm fencing in this pissing rain the other day all day. I'm going to do that today for a couple hours too, I hope. Just throw on the headphones and think away and listen to shit and learn. And exposing the bad bastards. Can't help myself. I got to have a little couple words in the bad people, right? So get this one. Remember when the C-19 shit went down? Right? Now, ivermectin, award-winning drug. Award-winning. Has solved so many human issues, it's not even funny. And then the C-19 goes down, and they blocked any or all public access to ivermectin. In your face, right? When we're talking about yesterday, I was talking about signs the good guys are in control. Whew, there's something, if any of you sleuths, somebody's got the time, I would like to do it. I would do it. Follow that vine all the way down to its absolute source to find the original human, what position they're in society, and find out who it was who originally said, uh-oh, we got to stop access to ivermectin quick. Somebody did that. Somebody did that. They're alive today amongst us. How alarming is that? Holy shit in your face, right? That's no conspiracy shit. That's fact. They blocked an award-winning drug from access. They blocked access to it for us when that dog shit went down. Uh-oh. Speaking of dogs, hold on a minute. What are you doing, Bubs? You want in? Huh. What are you doing? You a little frustrated with Dad? Hey? Not playing with you? Puppy? Hold on a minute. Here. Look. You just wanted me to play with you, right? Hey? You a little frustrated? My big goon protector. Usually we have WWF out in the shop here every single day after I'm done here, and she knows it's coming, and she looks at me like, let's go. And we will have our wrestle time outside the door here in the shop, and I'm going to put a GoPro on one time and record it because it probably looks terrifying. The sounds that come out of her and the look on her face and how hard we fight is a little stupid. And Sarah's not impressed with me, but it makes me laugh my head off. I can't help it. It makes me freaking laugh my face off. And she bites the shit out of me, but not quite hard enough. She broke skin once, but we're just getting a little excited. But the sounds that come out of that big dog when we're fighting, it's actually pretty intimidating. Like I would not want her angry. What is it babbling about? The ivermectin thing. Yeah, just a quick tidbit. If somebody wants something to do and you're bored and you have that fight of the dog in you and you don't quit, trace that vine back to its source, right? Trace that vine back to its source, to the original number one person who suggested, we got to stop access to ivermectin right now. Said who? And they need to be made a celebrity, right? There, I'll stop on that one. But anyway, yeah, the dog. Quick note on the dog too. So we have like almost tamed deer in the yard, and like the kids have been giving them grain. They'll go out and feed the chickens, and they'll bring a handful of grain to this one deer that, they named her Babs. Put in the front yard to the point now they're touching it. The little psychopath here can't stop herself from chasing deer. It's so frustrating. And like yesterday, out on the leash, we come out of the shop after having our fight time. And there's Babs right in the front yard. And then Ruby goes like this. Like walking like that. I'm like, don't you even think about it. And I make her sit down. And then we go walking towards the deer more. And now we're only about 30 feet from it. And she looks at me like this. And she's locked in the deer. And then I make her sit down. She sits down again. And then all of a sudden the deer jumps away 3 feet, and that triggers her. And she almost ripped my arm off to trigger her to chase it. Like I'm just saying, I don't know, maybe put a shock collar on her or something or really teach her a lesson. I don't know. We'll get there. But anyway, I've got a spare wheel, tire on a rim, and I've got how much rope do I got on this sucker? I think I got about, I don't know, probably 60 feet of rope on that thing. It's got a big front yard. When I'm working out in the yard, I'll tie her onto that rope. Then I know she can't catch a deer, and she'll play around. Well, I tied her on that freaking picture. This one. This is Psycho beside me. Tie the rope on her collar. We're going to do it. She sees, I don't know what she saw. In the next field over, dead run, rips from the shop, going across property. She's dragging the truck wheel behind her as she's running across the property. Anyway, so I guess I wasn't here, and Sarah was doing some of the horses, and some Amazon driver comes down our driveway. She goes absolutely bonks. Hair stands on end. The guy's getting out of his delivery van, and she's ripping toward him, dragging a wheel of a truck behind her. Like, Sarah goes, it was unbelievable. It's like, if she wasn't on that rope, she probably would have frickin' ended him. I'm like, well, guess she must have sent something, whatever. But it's weird how a dog, like, she's never been trained to protect, but it's just bizarre. It's wild for me to watch an animal have that natural protector in her, like absolute knows to protect no matter what. And another time, I know I'm babbling, but I got to go here pretty quick. Sarah and the kids were here, and Ruby was on the leash. Another delivery guy, 2 delivery guys showed up. I'm not here. And Ruby went absolutely apeshit and wanted one of them really, really, really bad. And Sarah said the guy was terrified. He got back in the van, and Ruby got in front of her and presses her body against her legs. And she said that even once they got in the house, that she jumped on the couch and just kept on leaning against Sarah's chest and keeping her head in front of her head and kind of making weird sounds. Isn't that crazy? So obviously she possibly sensed something bad about one of those 2 guys. But this dog down here, oh my God, is somebody bad came around here and she could get a hold of him? Wouldn't be good. Would not be good. Pretty crazy to watch. Now, is it Boxing Day yet? How long we been here, right? It's got to be a record breaker. It's 2 hours. 2 hours. What do we got here? I'm going to read another one. Why not, right? This is titled, Very Clear Orb and Possible Ghost in the Squamish Valley. Oh, here we go. The old backyard. Hey, Steve, my name's blank. If you actually read this email publicly, please call me Bob. All right. Lesson. Caught it. Live. Caught it. You don't want me to say your name? Don't put it in the beginning of the email, all right? I live in Squamish Valley on an acreage, and over the years have had some paranormal type activity. 2 of the main ones, videos I'm sending in this email, were caught on my security cameras. One was at 3:30 a.m. and another at 6 a.m. Let's start with the orb. This was at 3:30 a.m. It's at the very back of the property, which borders another property where there's just bush and forest. Nothing really back there. I have multiple cameras all over the place. In front of the house is about 200 yards away from where the orb was. That night, my 2 dogs were sleeping on the porch at the front of the house, 200 yards from where the orb was, and suddenly out of nowhere, at 3:29 a.m., the porch camera triggers. The dogs go berserk and stormed off the porch. They usually do this when there's coyotes at the back of the property, but there was no coyotes. 3:30 a.m., the orb appears on the camera, and the dogs start barking, and kind of confused and almost a bit nervous. So, whatever that was, it caused my dogs to run back there at 3:30 a.m., and they kind of spooked when they got there. You can see a reflection of the orb in the video. It's very clear. The ghost-looking video. Not much story to it, but all the dogs were inside that morning. The video isn't as clear, but to me, almost looks like 2 kids holding hands, skipping along, dancing. There's been a few other orb and weird things happen around here, but this is what I have on camera. Maybe it's a native grave or something here. I'm not sure, LOL. Let me know what you think of these videos. P.S. Keep up the great channel. Love the hunting Sasquatch content. Thanks for passing on your hunting knowledge. It's been useful for me. I got a nice white-tailed the bow this year. All right, man. Congrats. And keep an eye on those dogs. There's a shit pile of wolves around there. And you wouldn't believe how many people in the sea to sky I've warned said, you better keep your dogs in the house. They're going to get it. And everybody thinks, oh, yeah, I know there's wolves around. And then, boom. Them and the kids got to hear their lifelong pet getting shredded into a million pieces right outside the bedroom window in the dark. So if it hasn't happened, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I wonder if you have any many elk in your yard. But anyways, let's have a click on this and see if it works. All right, here we go. What do we got? Ooh. Hold on. Is that going to work? Holy shit, it's working. All right, let's do it again. That's a weird one. At first glance, it looks like a reflection in the lens on the camera. It looks like it's between the camera and the dogs. It almost looks like it's somebody's inside of a house shining a light on the glass. I wasn't there. One more time. I don't know. Interesting. The dog don't seem to be looking at that. Excuse me. Oh, I got a bunch of shit on here. What's that? Nope, that's not it. Patience, you guys. This is all live, so I can't. Hold on. Is this it? Whoa. Wow. All right. Ready, guys? What the hell? See that? All right, hold on. What? That's pretty weird. One more. Ready? Okay, that's weird. That was no mosquito. That wasn't no water dripping across the lens or a spider swinging on its web either. That's pretty bizarre. I don't know whereabouts you are up there, if you're near that horse riding place or not, by the power lines. Obviously still by the pavement, right? So what I can tell you about right around there where you guys live, Sarah had a customer of hers who lived up there, and she was driving down the paved part of the stretch of road right by where you guys live and a handful of other people. And one of the hairy people known as Sasquatch or a Sabe person ran beside their vehicle in the night and passed her while she was driving down that paved chunk of road. But yeah, there's no shortage. That's also past you guys where I made that opener video. You guys see the drone with me fishing in the river and walking down the river. That's just past where this guy's home is. There you go. Squamish Valley's on fire. Native elder woman from Squamish was also used to go get her hair done by Sarah, and she told her flat out she knew where she knows where there is 2 or 3 portals on the sides of mountains in the Squamish Valley. Go figure, right? But anyway, yeah, there's no shortage of shit going on around there. Keep us posted. That one video is kind of bizarre, don't you guys think? We haven't seen anything like that caught on a trail camera or a security camera. That's pretty weird. If I get time later on, I'll load it on the editing program and zoom in, slow down, brighten and darken it and see for the hell of it, just because it's interesting, right? Not that a video is going to make any difference at all for anything at this stage of the game. It's just not. Don't you agree? I mean, what's a video going to do? Even the video that I got on my phone, big deal. It's absolute clear helicopter. It's a clear video. Let's just put it that way. It can't be faked. And but it still doesn't make a difference. Even though I don't know how many people I've shown it to in person, like, holy cow, that's crazy. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. I'm like, yeah, right. But it still doesn't matter. If you were one of the I don't know how many people are even left in this topic whose life goal is to prove it to the world. I mean, at this stage of the game, doesn't it just make you kind of palm to face smack? It's like, oh my God, really? We're going to pray for you and pray that you break free of that cell that you put yourself in, okay? Oh my God, that'd be, think about it. I think about it now. I look at that as like it's almost like a sentence, a life sentence in a way. After observing so many people dedicate their lives to thinking, I got to get proof. I'm going to be the first one to get it too. I'm going to be a superstar and I'm going to prove to the world that Bigfoot's real. At this stage of the game, I see that mindset, that position in life is almost like being in a cell. Don't you think? It's been proven. It's the journey that leads nowhere if that's where you're stuck. Don't you think? It's like, why do people always mimic each other and they do the same shit people do and it's proven to be a waste of time and a fail? I don't understand. I learned from watching people. I learned from listening to all of you. I do not repeat what people have proven to be a waste of time. They did it for me. They dedicated their lives to showing me what they did was the wrong thing to do. Gotcha. Note taken. Thanks for the example. But how many people mimic what people have done with their entire life, and they're going to mimic and do the exact same thing? Oh my God, quit it. Holy shit. Really? You know what I mean? It's like people who got double lung cancer, but they still got to go outside the hospital and smoke a cigarette in their wheelchair. Anyway, I'm rambling, bambling. Am I supposed to be reading this shit as I'm going here? It's kind of tough. You know, I can't read and I can't read and babble. I can't read and share emails and respond. Is all the comment section is it all gonna stay on here for later? Like maybe I can go. I know there's a couple of channels, information channels I follow, and they go through the comments later on and answer questions and shit. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that, you guys, because it looks like a bunch of people donated some dollars here too. So that's going to help with the big shop. So we got to make sure that we scream their names out. I've already been here for over 2 hours. I can't really do it right now, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of talking going on here. A whole bunch of you. What a great day, huh? What a great day. Everybody's being friendly with each other. We don't have a moderator. I don't think we need a moderator in grown-up world, do we? This is kind of funny, right? People have moderators. Well, you don't like something you see on the internet, just look away. Just look away. But I think overall, by now, the majority of people here, pretty kick-ass good people, right? I don't think we have too many douchebags here anymore. I don't think. I don't see any grief going on here, but whatever. You guys are all take care of yourselves, right? Yeah, God bless everybody. God bless you too. Everyone. Leona, Jason, Lori, Amy, everyone. I hope today helped a lot of you people who think you're alone today. Glad to have proved you wrong. Right? You're not alone. You're never alone. If you're aware of being here and you're aware of all these people that come here daily, you're not alone. It's not possible, right? You need a prayer. You ask for it. Done. Right? You want to say hi to somebody? You're going to get a million highs back here. You're never alone. Not going to happen. So, I think this is time well spent today, don't you think? I think so. World record babbling for me, right? God, the amount of rain that has been falling out of the sky here is absolutely amazing. Holy shit. But I've got I think I got about 8 fence posts. I got 8-foot 4x4 posts I want to get in the ground. I don't give a shit what I was doing out there. I got to get it done. So I'm going to go do that for the part of my day. Then what am I going to do? I'm going to go pick up the ladies, bring them home, tell some stories, have a great meal this evening. And then after that, I guess we're going to gear up and get ready to go. We got to drive an hour and a bit to go get all the grub, those little shitheads. And I say shitheads with affection. I always refer to the little kids as those little creeps, right? I don't know why. All my life, kids have singled me out, and dogs, animals, they single me out and they come over and start climbing on me. Or dogs, they lay on my foot. It's kind of weird. It's one thing that bugs me about not living where I was living before I moved here. All the neighborhood kids, all of them, came over to my house and banged on my door. If I open up that door 6 inches, they try to push their way in, little shitheads. So I'm just saying that's why I call them little shitheads, little yard monkeys, right? And I would take those little suckers fishing, or else I'd throw them all in my truck to take them in and feed them up with burgers and fries. A lot of them were hungry then there too, some of these kids. But anyways, don't get mad if you call them little shitheads. It's all affectionate, all right? I'm just a little rough with words sometimes. Now, yeah, I miss it. I miss all those little buggers. Miss them. Kind of sucks when you see them growing up. It's like, oh, he used to be so cute. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I hope today helped. I don't know how many people out there thought you might have been lonely today, but you're not. And I hope this helped you realize that, right? And I hope it brought some merry to your Christmas, because it did me for sure. And I'll look at all the comment section later on for sure, you guys. All right, and then who knows? Maybe I'll just make a video again, dedicated to the mentions or whatever I read in here later on too. And what else? I have, when my other laptop screwed up, I had a video loading on there with a bunch of photos on it too, real cool ones. And then we had to leave to go drive to that next town over where we get the groceries for the kids and shit. And I said to Sarah, oh shit, go into my office and get my laptop for me so we can drop it off to get it repaired. But the video didn't load. So there's another hour-long video sitting on the other laptop. I can hook it up to the internet and finish loading it. So maybe that one will load tomorrow. So when you see that video tomorrow morning, you will understand why it may be a little confusing, because it was recorded, I don't know, maybe 4 days ago. All right? Just so you know ahead of time. That's about it. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow, right? And the next day. So, Merry Christmas to all of you crazy people. Thank you so much for feeding those children. It really is something else. It's something else to see them freaking out when they get food. It's crazy. And feeling the love big time. It's overwhelming. And God bless everyone. Merry Christmas.